Welcome to the Running Channel Podcast, live from the London Marathon! Yes, it worked!
It did work. We didn't practice that at all. We're really excited to be here at the Running Channel Clubhouse in London Marathon in Soho. We are going to talk about the London Marathon a little bit, but for lots of people listening at home, you won't be able to get to London. You're not all running London Marathon. So there's loads of stuff we're going to be talking about that's not to do with the London Marathon, including our own running stories so far in terms of marathons, but also what we've been up to this year.
Yeah, we've also got a very special treat for you. Rick is going to be taking on a trivia quiz, but with a twist, because we're not going to make it easy for you. So in a second, later on, you're going to be heading over to the Wahoo Kicker Run. We're going to be answering you a series of questions, and every question you get wrong, the elevation goes up until you hit Everest.
How much is it going up?
Just high.
Just as high as it goes?
We're in London, we're going up. It's going up in stages by one elevation at a time.
Oh God, this is going to be painful. Hey, big shout out as well to people running Manchester as well.
On the same day.
So we can't just talk about London. It's mad that it's on the same day.
I know, 90,000 people all running a marathon in the same day in the UK. Phenomenal.
Exciting.
Should we get into it?
Let's do it.
Okay. Let's start with a bit of a catch-up because we have a huge thing to address that a lot of people in the Running Channel Club also pointed out.
Yeah.
Rick did an activity that was 9 hours and 59 minutes long, which we all must agree must be a huge accident.
Yeah, so I didn't actually know that I'd done it, the activity.
What's the surprise?
Yeah. So it was 3.03 kilometres at an average kilometre pace of 3 hours, 17 minutes and 47 seconds.
At least it's a new pace.
Yeah. And
I think
have you got a picture?
Yeah, your elevation, I'm just going to describe it for those who are just listening to this. It looks like what I imagine the inside of your brain would look like. Kind of just a series of squiggly lines, not really hitting the point of anything.
I think if it looked like what the inside of his brain looks like, it would be blank.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I saw this on Monday morning and I did this run on Saturday. Well, apparently I did it on Saturday. And I was alerted to it by a series of texts saying you need to go on the Running Channel Club and check this out, what's going on here. And then I stared at it for about 30 minutes and I was like, I really don't remember going on that run.
And then you mean you don't remember a whole 9 hours and 59 minutes?
Generally what has happened then? And I thought, oh, I did go on a run on Saturday, but actually I can't remember, did I stop it?
Clearly
no. Clearly what happened, I went on a run, thought I started it, but didn't. So when I stopped it, I actually started the run. I then hoovered the house, mowed the lawn, went in the hot tub and did a few lengths, sub 1 metre. And then went to sleep. And my battery ran out when I woke up in the morning, hence my time of 9 hours, 57 minutes.
Beautiful.
You listed all the stuff that you did on GPS, none of which involved parenting.
What are you saying?
I'm saying that, you prioritised the hot tub, the lawn, and what else was it?
We've got the in-laws over at the moment.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
The helper here.
It's all fine. So that was my week. What about you two?
Well, I actually went on a run.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it was really good. I did an interval session this week. It was 1,200 metre repeats, absolutely horrific. I was just running along. I thought it's flat, but apparently my running club doesn't like flat routes. So it was 800 metres and then 400 metres uphill.
Oh my gosh, Sarah, why'd you do that?
I don't know.
400 metres distance, not 400 metres elevation.
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
But I mean, relative. Maybe it was.
Still hillier than where Rick lives.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, seeing where I was living, I went on holiday in Bath last week. My God, does anyone here live in Bath? No,
That would be a long way to go. Okay, but on a scale of like...
No, I love Bath, that's why I went on holiday there. It'd be really weird if you went somewhere you didn't like. But...
Was that hillier than North London though?
To toss up.
You just don't want to admit it, do you?
Toss it. If you go down by the river, but honestly, crazy hills.
You need to give us some hill recommendations because we want to film a video soon of stop when you think you've hit 500 metres of elevation. So I'm thinking we need to go and do a little North London trip out to actually see how hilly it is.
We'll be there all day.
Am I getting the call up for this?
You are getting the call up.
Who
for
else
this.
is doing this video?
Probably Andy. I think I'm away.
Andy doesn't do that many videos.
Have you seen the episodes of Taskmaster where they get one of the contestants to do like a really trivial, menial task that takes them ages just as a joke, like counting a tin of baked beans,
no one
else
does
has to do
it.
the challenge?
Yeah.
I've kind of given the game away now, but I think we can get Rick to do that.
That's all right. He'll have forgotten by now.
Yeah, we'll have forgotten. Yeah, so we're not running this weekend, but two of the team are running, Jess and Ashley.
Yes, and Mo as well. So lots of people.
Mo's going for championship time.
Yeah,
Yes,
but I mean, Mo, technically he is running a marathon, but he's running it so quick, does it even count?
Yeah, you're right, Sarah. Like in championship time is something crazy. What is it?
2:38 he is going for.
2:38. So that is per kilometre through.
Oh, don't ask questions like that. Yeah.
Hang on, no, I think I know this.
Do you?
I don't
Let's
think you
let
know
him
this.
work it out. Go on. Ready? Maths with Rick.
I think it's divide by 5/20. You should take off the 2, and then you obviously multiply the original
obviously
5.
take off the 2.
That's
Three something.
3:42 per
I actually
kilometre.
think it is pretty close.
Is that right? Yeah, there you go.
Producer in a
3:42 a kilometre.
Wow, phenomenally
behind the
quick.
curtain says
Yeah,
it's
so
right.
we've got Mo who will be speeding past.
Yeah.
We've got Ashley who's taking on her first ever marathon, and Jess will be running alongside her too, which is really exciting. This will be Jess's 13th, I want to say. Where's Jess? Yeah, 13th marathon out of 42. We've also got Meg from the office who's here right now, who's running London as well. Where's Meg? She's
hiding.
She had enough.
Rude, Meg. But yeah, loads of people taking on. And we've got some people in the room who are running London as well. Super, super exciting.
Quick whoop if you're running in the room.
Yes,
Quite a lot
very
of you.
nice.
Quite a lot of you.
Yeah.
Did you see that chat, by the way, this week, that in order to run a sub 3-hour marathon, you need to be putting in around 100 kilometres a week?
Yeah, I think it's so...
One opinion on it. One
opinion by a very well-known and accredited journalist.
Yes, very much so. But I think it's a really interesting point because a lot of people run marathons because they are looking for their own personal achievement. They want to run for time. Obviously, London, we've got 56,000 runners, all running for their own different reasons, whatever that might be, whether you're running for charity, memory of a loved one, or the personal challenge of taking on a time. I think it's so interesting to think of, like, what does it take to run a sub 4 or a sub 5 or a sub 3. Sub 3, I think, is an interesting one, especially Puma have got a campaign going on at the moment, Project 3, where they've got lots of athletes trying to win prize money if they can knock 3 minutes off of their PB and be under that 3-hour mark as well.
Wow.
But what does it take? Is it the same for every person?
I just think that's nonsense. So I just don't think that you can go purely on 100k. You know, it's down to your lifestyle, it's down to doing strength and conditioning work. I mean, look at Owen in our office. Owen behind the curtain. He was doing
no curtains, David, just imagine.
nowhere near 100k. He was doing 50k a week, eating 7 bags of Haribo a week, going on 3 Bumble dates a week that finished at 3 a.m.
You're really
and
showing him up now.
He still managed to do it.
Yeah, and to be fair, how many kilometres a week were you doing when you ran your 253?
A lot less than that. I think probably 50 kilometres.
Yeah, I do think it's super individual to the person, but it's nice to have that as like a target to aim towards. But don't, stick by everything that you see, because every single athlete is super individual. Even the people, the kind of elite athletes that are starting on the London Marathon start line, all of them will have run very different amount of mileages too.
Yeah, and it depends on, like, I did 50k, but very clearly each run had a purpose, and there was lots of speed work or marathon pace work or various different paces in there. Whereas if you did run 100k and you ran it all at the same pace, then that might actually be less beneficial than running a lot less, but having a lot more specificity in the stuff that you do. Also
cycling.
Yeah.
Lots of people will cover like cycling mileage instead of running mileage, and that's how they get their like overall volume up. But
so as in
running...
time spent aerobically exercising. I have an interesting press release to change, a quick change of tack. I got sent this from a betting company, I think. One of these classic, like, interview the British public and see what they think about marathons.
Yeah.
So how, as a percentage, how many of the people in the country do you think know how long a marathon is?
Know how long it is?
Know how long it is. Oh god, this is going to be like. This is going to be like. What was the percentage of people who thought they could qualify for the Olympic?
Was it so crazy? Like,
a lot. Another one like that.
Was it like 36%?
If you need people, what's ironic is that the British public are, like, I would say, quite reserved. Like, we're not going to be compared to, like, if you
except
go
on these telephone surveys when they get asked
or
like an internet survey.
If you had an actual face-to-face conversation with someone, they'd be like, no, I can't do a marathon. Ring them up. They're like, one of them, no problem.
So nearly half the country didn't know how long a marathon was.
Didn't know how long it was. To be fair, did they need to do the whole like 42.1 blah, 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 whatever it is?
I don't know. I wasn't conducting the research.
Fine.
Also, how many Brits do you think have lied about completing a marathon when they haven't?
No way.
Rick Kelsey. He has completed a marathon. He's going to do another one this year, by the way.
Allegedly.
No.
Okay. Yeah, how many Brits do you think have lied about completing a marathon?
I don't think that many.
100,000.
That's a difficult lie to make up, because then they go, all right, which marathon did you do?
Well, apparently
Sydney?
5 million. 5 million.
No.
5 million
5
British
million
people have lied
All right,
about
own up.
running
We
a
must have
marathon.
one in the room.
Yeah, everyone lied in this room, but I mean, as if you're going to admit it.
I would have loved to see someone be like. To be fair, you can
it's the guy
picture-
before we started who said he'd run 49.
Yeah, sorry, I've actually run one.
40% of Brits say that they go sock shoe.
40%?
No, that one I made up.
All right.
I could tell by the telling silence here that that's not the case. And then the last one, how many, this is Londoners specifically, how many Londoners believe they could smash the London Marathon, in under 2 hours? With that?
Stop.
No, I'm serious.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gav, reckon
God,
I could do it. Yeah, what, 156, Sam?
How many?
Yeah. 1 in 10.
No way!
No. 1 in 10. Imagine though, so wasn't it in the ballot last year, 850,000 people balloted to run London Marathon. Of that people, how many thought they could do it in under 2 hours?
I think they should
Or
add
how
that
many
to the
still
question.
do if they've made it in?
About 1 in 10. Yeah. Do you know that ballot? I just can't get over that ballot. I've told you this about my brother, haven't I? That he's tried for 20 years to get into the London Marathon. And he gets so down every time because he's fast, he's rapid. Yeah. And then just this year, his wife went, I'll give it a go, give it a spin. Got in.
But do you not think? Do you think
Yeah.
Could your brother be one of these people that's surveyed though? Could he be someone who's like, oh no, I haven't got into the marathon, and he actually hasn't entered for 20 years?
Yeah, maybe.
He just wants to say he didn't get in.
We did have a lot of people last year at our Clubhouse pop-up. Sunday was sometimes it got a bit tense, and people coming in with medals on, and people coming in who were like, yeah, I've tried for 15 years, and then people with a medal being like, it's my first time.
Yes.
I know,
You kind of have to whisper it because some
tricky.
people get quite angry.
Well, we were going to give our race day tips, weren't we?
We
Or
were.
marathon running in general, not specifically for London, I think. A quick fire kind of whiz through things that we've learned from our vast marathon experiencing.
Well, you're 1 year on, aren't you now? Do you are you feeling like you want to be on the start line on Sunday? No.
No, genuinely, I loved it. London Marathon is phenomenal.
Yeah.
The crowds are almost overwhelmingly good, but no, I haven't run further than a half marathon this year. So if someone presented me with a golden ticket right now, I'd be like, I'm okay.
Not doing it.
No, but I think if you have trained, if you are ready to give it a go, and if you have been thinking about it, then you have absolutely got it, and it'll be fun.
Can I interject here just with a little glimpse behind the curtain of the prepreparation for the Running Channel podcast?
Yeah.
So first off, Sarah's got an iPad.
I think I've got
I was
one.
given an iPad but refused to use it.
Yeah. Means I've got to carry it.
And producer Owen gave me this. So for audio listeners, I'm holding up an old-fashioned clipboard with a paper printed out. So I've
I
been
just
stitched
don't
up.
think. Let's also let people behind the curtain.
Yeah.
We in our green room, which was a cupboard before we started.
Yeah.
Andy went, wait. Let's film a video for the club before we get out of here.
Yeah.
It took 3 attempts. Attempt number 1, he took a photo. Attempt number 2, he didn't press record.
Yeah.
And attempt number 3, he finally got it, but there was a millennial pause at the start. So that's why you've
always
got the
have the
clipboard.
And that was all after you asked me to stop flashing my red boxes.
Yes. Oh, great. We're really airing our
going
laundry
there,
here,
aren't
aren't we? Rick is wearing running underwear because he will be running later on, and he keeps showing it off.
We
so
discovered
sorry
it.
for anyone in the front row.
If anyone's seen the episode or episodes of Friends where I think it's Phoebe's boyfriend always likes to go for a jog, and then he comes into the cafe and then he sort of puts one foot up on the couch to tie his laces or whatever. That was more or less our experience. So.
Yeah, we've had that.
Isn't it one of the most common questions you get though on Instagram? Have you still got those pants you blew a hole in?
Honestly,
Blew a hole.
I would say
Horrible.
I would say the split after I finally broke 20 minutes for 5k. It was half people saying well done, half people asking, did you wear the lucky underwear this time? No, I didn't.
And the reason I mentioned this
Yeah.
is because Rick didn't want to use the iPad, which has a little bit of a running order to kind of keep us on track, and he wrote his own notes. But just in that little segue, then he skipped a whole section asking Sarah about her London Marathon, and it made me cross. So I decided to bring you back on track. That was all.
Oh, what with the spectator? Well, now you're throwing me off.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Spectator tips?
That's what I thought we were doing.
Right,
that's what
yeah, but that's what we went into.
Yeah, exactly. We were into it. And I was going to talk.
We did the next bit.
So,
all right, Cambridge.
Go back to your scratch pad. Right.
Can I do a tip?
Go on.
Okay, so this one was hotly debated in our office because we've had maybe 6 or 7 people training in the Running Channel office at the moment for spring marathons. When do you get your watch to auto-lap? Very hotly debated. Do you auto-lap it at all? Here's what, depending on how pedantically you want to know. Well, yeah, I would go 5K because then you've got like a good rough estimate. And in a marathon, you've got long enough where if you're over by a few seconds in that 5K, then you can make it up in the next 5K, because if anyone follows Becky Briggs on Instagram, she made an excellent point of, if you're trying to run sub something, so say you are trying to run sub 3, which means... No, I can't do the maths for that one. So you're trying to run sub 3, and that's 4:15 per kilometre.
Yeah.
You've got to think about the tenths. Because if you run 4:15, 4:15, 4:15, 4:15, what you're actually running is 4:15.7, 4:15.8, 4:15 point whatever. So if you're lapping it every kilometre, you could end up with 10 seconds. Because I was thinking, the amount of people, I met someone else the other day who'd run like 3 hours, 10 seconds.
Yeah.
That's the 10.
That's all the points.
But
that's all the points.
So I thought the Autolap every 5K was kind of psychological on the basis that, you know, you think of 5K, I've got a park run to go. Crack out 8 and a bit of those.
Yeah.
So is it more psychological?
It depends how you want to look at it.
I would think it is for me. Like I had mine auto-lapping every K, and that was fairly soul-destroying after 3K. I was like, oh, 37K to go.
Yeah, that is.
38, 39K. God, that was the problem.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I don't think I've got, sorry, you just reminded me. I don't think I've got, I saw this photo today and weirdly it popped up. Well, obviously it would pop up, you know, when you get those Apple memories of 2017 when I ran the London Marathon, and it had a picture of me on the start line, and I just looked like such a doofus. Like I had literally
not much
a massive one of those big old heavy metal watches on. I had earphones that were bigger than my head.
Over-ear headphones?
Over-ear
like
headphones.
The swimmers around the Olympics.
In over-ear headphones.
I think I had tracksuit bottoms on. Like, and I was just thinking, what was I doing?
You needed the Running Channel.
I did, yeah.
You did.
Thank God you called me 2 years later.
Yeah, based entirely on your vast knowledge and experience and technological expertise.
Great, on that, should we go through some more tips?
Yes.
Nutrition, on course. We say it every year, nothing new on race day. If you are running the marathon, I know it can be so tempting
to grab something.
Grab something at the expo, grab the whatever is out on course, but if you haven't practiced with it, today's not the day to poo yourself.
No.
But it could be if you try something new.
Speaking of which, I've got 2 points here.
Great.
One is fairly entertainingly, early on before everyone piled in, we were doing a mic check. Rick went to the toilet, still had his mic on.
Oh yeah, do you know, Tom listened to you go for a week.
Oh yeah. I didn't want to forget to turn it back on, but then I forgot to turn it back on.
Yeah. There we go. And the second one is, I got a second press release that I've been sending. I get sent a lot of this stuff.
Great.
But this one is also entertaining.
You're so up to date with your inbox.
You have time to read this and you say I don't do any work.
This is work. So it was about female urinals at London Marathon. So there's a company called Pquals, P-equals, as in, because women should also have the right to go to the toilet quickly and not have to queue for hours and hours at the portaloos. But it made me laugh because the release was about how this year they're going to recycle urine from those female urinals at the
what?
And it's going to be the
recycle urine.
Well, they're going to quickly rush it to one of the drink stations later.
My God!
No, they're not. They're not. They're not. No, they're going to use it as fertiliser. They're going to use it.
This is the wrong colour drink to be drinking right now.
Shut up! They're going to use women's wee as fertiliser.
Yes, to grow wheat.
What a lovely cyclical process.
Yeah, exactly. So apparently also, if they use it, I think this made me
Why
laugh.
is it just women's wee?
Yeah.
It's the particular company that owns it.
So sexist. What's wrong with men's wee?
I can't believe that.
Yeah.
That would be all I would be thinking about. So last year I did wee in a marathon, which was the first time I'd ever stopped.
Yeah.
And my one bit of advice is if you do use a portaloo, make sure you lock the door. because I didn't. And at, I think, mile 11, I had a lovely chat with a guy with no shorts on.
He had no shorts on.
No, I had no shorts on.
If he was
I was
outside
like,
with no shorts on.
I'm so sorry.
And then she would say, then did he knock again? Is that Sarah
it got
from
to
the
That's so awkward, Sarah. What, it got to a second question?
It was bad.
Yeah.
And then I just ran away.
You're right.
But also we
How's
were
the
like
race going?
kind of similar paced matched. So there was a good few
stuck
miles where
around.
I was like,
Yeah.
hi.
The best thing is that the loos that they're taking them from are the loos on the yellow start line, which I thought was appropriate.
Lovely.
And they're going to get 1,000 litres, which is enough to grow wheat for 195 loaves of bread. There you go. Never said this isn't educational.
You and they have just ruined bread.
Yeah, I've never felt less like toast. Yeah. Right, marathon experiences. What do you reckon, kind of like, obviously at this point everyone's kind of pretty terrified going into Sunday, or if you run in London or you run in Manchester, but you two had pretty decent experiences, I say. In fact, Sarah, I think you said to me that it was one of the best experiences of your life last year.
Running London.
Yeah.
It was. Like, I had a really tough day in the marathon, and that's still something like happened in the 5K again. I think I'm just not very good on race day, which I didn't really realise. I thought it was just going to be fun. I did the classic. I think the whole way leading up to it, I was like, my 2 goals: 1, have fun; 2, run a really aggressive PB, which you can't really do at the same time. But no, I think
PBs aren't fun until afterwards.
Yeah, PB is type 2 fun, and I tried to make it type 1 fun. But I think no matter what you're doing...
Did you get a PB?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we talked about it at length, that just no runner's ever satisfied with the... So you ran the fastest marathon you've ever run in your life, and you're
technically
really
ticked
upset about
both
it.
off. Yeah.
Did you take it in though?
No, I don't think I did.
you
I
think-
think that's what's hard as well. Is that you
Yeah, and I
don't...
don't remember anything of Valencia really, because I was so focused on the times.
Do you remember seeing me?
And the one point that you popped up at 40k, yes, I remember seeing you, because I've been crying for the first 2.5 hours when I didn't.
I had a line that day. There was nothing much on. No, Sarah, seriously, you said to me that there is a certain element of expectation around London which piles more pressure on people.
Yeah, and I definitely think that's like a good thing to address, whether I think it doesn't only apply to London, it applies to spring or autumn now, or even just to marathons in general. We are definitely in an echo chamber of, it feels like everyone's running a marathon, it feels like everyone's trained for a marathon, it feels like if you're not running a marathon, what are you doing? We're not, and that's fine. And I think if you are someone who like does take on that external pressure, you just need to just think of why you're doing it. Really like sit and think about, okay, why am I taking on this marathon? No one forced me to sign up to it, and no one's forcing you to do it, and actually just kind of let that pressure go. Because I think the amount of people that are on the course, it can tip over from that overwhelming feeling of support into that overwhelming feeling of, gosh, everyone's looking at me, there's so much pressure, I've set this goal on myself, are people going to be disappointed in me if I don't get it? No one is going to be disappointed at all.
No.
Like I was disappointed in myself after London Marathon, and everyone kept coming up to me being like, you ran a PB, and I was like, yeah, I know.
Which is ridiculous, because everyone was just all out for you. But Andy, you had that, didn't you, in Valencia? Because obviously you've had to deal with pressure in crazy ways at Olympic Games and taking on world championships and running the fastest mile ever. But at the same time, I remember you before Valencia, you were like quiet, keeping yourself to yourself, not talking.
Quiet, boring, same as normal.
You were nervous in a way I didn't expect you to be.
Yeah, I get incredibly nervous for anything now. Even if I go to a parkrun now, I would be nervous because I'm putting myself out there, and
Mate, come down my parkrun, you see those hills, everyone's nervous.
Yeah, I would be quaking at those hills. I was going to say, have either of you ever done a race, done a run? In fact, has anyone in this room ever done a race, and then had the feedback that they would have been worried about getting? So you're worried about letting people down. Has anyone ever said, that was awful. Like, oh, you've really let me down. Oh, I'm so disappointed in you. All of the stuff that you sort of think
Rick
that they might
did say that to me last year.
Oh, did he?
No.
I was thinking that was a rhetorical question that I knew the answer to.
I said it was good to fail. I said failure's good. I said I'm glad you failed. You need to fail at something.
I think that was more a compliment to you not really failing at anything.
Yeah. But no one will ever come up to you and say your worst fears. And in fact, I think everyone is their own harshest critic. So whatever you can do, we're recording this on, is it Wednesday?
Thursday.
We're recording this on Thursday. There's nothing you can do between Thursday and Sunday, training-wise, that's going to make a massive difference. But there's everything that you can do in terms of mental preparation. So I was chatting to Josephine Perry earlier this week, who had done a session on, I think it was...
She's a psychologist.
Yeah,
right?
she's a psychologist, and she was doing, I think, motivation jars is what she called it with people, of like, what are all of the things, if you've been in a racing situation before where those negative thoughts do start to come in, or you even just have that like doubt kind of flash in front of you, start making a list of, okay, what are the things that you can tell yourself in that moment that's going to combat that? Because you can rationalise yourself out of it, and actually you can spend hours doing that between now and Sunday and get yourself into a really good point. Even doing like a little bit of visualisation, or what you do when you go to sleep the night before the race, you write out all of your worries and think of the things that will combat them and cross them out. That's the stuff that can really make the difference now. No interval session is going to kind of have the same impact in those last few days.
Yeah, what you can do between an earlier point in that week when you're already you're not going to get fitter, but you can do loads of stuff to mess it up. You can get in your own head, you can do silly things and like go and do way too hard training, you can eat the wrong things. So you've just got to be sensible and not kind of shoot yourself in the foot. Interestingly, I asked that rhetorical question about like, have anyone ever had that feedback? You talked about the pressure that I was under in my previous career. I have had that feedback. And so I've been in that weird position where, because your livelihood depends on it, and there's lots of people who want you to do well, but also some people who might not fully understand how to motivate you in that moment. So Andy, my coach, was always amazing at that. So if I had a bad race, then he would give me the time I needed to process it. Then we'd talk about it. He'd never criticise me, but he'd be like, well, what would we change? What would we do differently? How would we train differently? What might we be able to do to make it better next time? But I did also have other people who were like, you know, what was that? That was awful. Or you really disappointed me. Or
I just don't know how I would deal with that.
I don't think I dealt with it very well. But it was hard to hear, because there are people that you trust, people that might be involved in your career in some either direct or peripheral way, and then when they say to you like, oh, you're not the athlete I thought you were, or something fairly cutting like that.
Someone said that to you?
Yeah, like that would be, because you don't win every race, you win very few races. There's 12 guys on the start.
Give me a clue who said that.
No.
You know what would actually be really good? Yeah, you just don't remember it. What we're going to do in our clubhouse on Sunday is we really want to film a video of, it's been going around online, of runners debriefing their race in the same way that footballers would debrief a race. So like, because I think that's a wonderful moment of being like, because footballers are like quite harsh with their performance straight away, or like they're asked quite negative questions. But if you think about it in the same way of like, how was that run? Yeah, had an absolute shocker coming out the blocks. Then that wee break really slowed me down in that middle section.
Yeah, well, the gaffer gave me a team talk at half time. But I think you, like, in elite sport, you do get that kind of criticism, and then you have to kind of stand up to it and take it, and then you have to build the people around you that give you the right feedback, and then sort of shut out the noise as much as you can. But then part of that is the inspiration for the way that the running channel goes about stuff, which is that like everyone should be supported and lifted up, and and that acknowledgement that no one's more disappointed when it doesn't quite go as well as possible than you are. So why would anyone, actually we should never ask a marathon runner or a runner what their time was. Like, how did it go? Is the question. Like, how was that? Or how are you getting
it's
on?
The first thing I tell you on a Monday morning.
Is what your part-time time.
Yeah.
But
no one asks
and we can guarantee the first 2 kilometres are a lot faster than the last 2.
Right.
Down to the hills. But I think quickly, before we go into my favourite section of this, and we haven't even done it yet, we need to say, anyone listening to this who is taking on a marathon soon, huge best of luck. You have absolutely got it. And we can stand here or sit here and say, we're incredibly proud of you, whatever happens. So look after yourselves, go out, have an amazing time. And now, let's put Rick through the challenge of his life.
Yeah, you may have noticed that I've been gently sipping the Gavi in the corner.
Gently?
Because now, unfortunately, it's time for me to get sweaty.
Great, so Rick is now on the kicker run. He is starting to run, and how we're going to work this is we are going to ask him a series of questions. Every single question that he gets wrong, the elevation goes up by 2 elevations.
2 elevations. That's
2 elevations.
In Rick's language, otherwise 2% in
2%.
normal language. So yeah, we're on the Wahoo Clicker run. Rick's in run-free mode, which means that he adjusts its own speed. So the closer he gets to the front of the treadmill, the faster it goes.
It's hands-free pacing. So when Rick gets all a bit stressed and runs towards the front of it, it gets faster. Very fun.
So you can actually see him in real time.
So I'm going for 6 minutes per kilometre.
That if you want to,
Are you there?
I'm there.
I think we should drag this out.
Should we just...
No, don't. Get on with the questions. Get on with the...
runs the marathon.
You two, get on with the questions.
You've only got 41 kilometres to go.
Yeah, how long has everyone got this evening?
Everyone's got time, right? Yeah.
I really hate being out of control of this show.
You're in control of the edit, so I guess that might time things up a little bit. So you go first, Sarah.
Yeah, we are ready for questions. You ready?
Yes.
Welcome to Rick's Challenge. Question number 1. How far is a marathon in miles?
26.2 miles.
Correct.
Very good. What year was the Running Channel founded?
Oh, it was. I was at 2019.
No!
2018. 2018. I was in it.
You hesitated. Up it goes.
Oh, Sarah, we've got a lot of questions here.
We need to go up.
Okay.
Question number 3. How many marathons is Jess taking on as part of her big marathon challenge this year?
44.
No! Fake friends!
Is it
Put
4?
the treadmill up!
Is it 45?
42.
No, 42.
How long is a marathon? 42 kilometres. Next question.
Okay, which bridge marks the halfway point of the London Marathon course?
London Bridge. No! Tower Bridge! Tower Bridge! Tower Bridge! Tower Bridge! You can't think straight when you're on this thing.
I don't care. You're running. Your thoughts.
Come on, Sarah, you're so slow.
Okay, name the 3 presenters from the Running Channel who are taking part in this week's London Marathon.
Mo,
Yeah.
Jess, Ashley.
Yeah.
Very good, mate. Okay.
Next question. Keep your eyes open when you run it.
Yeah.
What's the name of the London 2012 Olympics documentary series that featured Mr. Andy Baddeley?
Andy down the pub with the people doing silly voices, speaking like he's at Cambridge.
Called?
I can't remember.
I gave you the elevation up. It's called the British Miler.
Rick's now at 7.5%. Keep going, mate. How many attempts did it take for Sarah to run a sub 20-minute 5K?
6 of 20. 3.
Yes, 3.
Oh, correct. Okay, to run a sub 3-hour marathon, what does your average pace need to be in minutes per kilometre? I said it earlier. How good your memory?
2:57. All right, come on. Come on.
That was incorrect, so put the speed up.
9.5%, you two. I can't go any
You know
higher.
this one, the greatest of all time. Which male athlete has won the London Marathon the
feel
most
sick.
times?
What's the question?
Which male athlete, greatest of all time, has won the London Marathon the most times?
Gabriel Sassi.
No.
Ellie Kipchoge.
Kipchoge.
Okay, what record did Andy hold for 11 years?
Parkrun.
Yeah!
The London Marathon in 2025 is a special anniversary event. What anniversary is it?
41. 45.
I'll give you 45. We'll give him that.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Oh, my God.
Are you done?
I'm done. Safe.
Incredible! And back to the studio. Right, questions. Who would like to ask a question?
Hi, I'm Tash from London.
Hi, Tash.
Hi, I'm running my first London Marathon on Sunday and the weather forecast is scaring me a little bit because it's looking pretty hot right now. I wondered if you have any advice and whether I should consider going out at a different pace to what I've trained at.
Ooh, this is a great
Really good
point.
question.
Not only are we in the country that likes to talk about the weather the most, the weather is talkable about at London. So
warm.
what are we thinking?
Is it high of 18? 17, 18?
No,
High
20.
20.
It's changing now.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'll
What
trust
we-
Rick
what we
Kelsey
need-
looks at the weather like no other human eye.
Yeah, what we need to make sure that we do in the next minute is not panic people.
Okay.
So no, like, ooh, 20. 20's fine.
20 sounds very doable.
But it's not going to be 20 when you guys start out at 10 o'clock, so it might be by the time you end. But
Yeah, particularly this time of the year, the peak temperature in the UK, or whatever the high is quoted as, actually quite late in the day, like 4 or 5, like 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Is the time to heat up. I think that's true.
But some people will be starting, like Jess and Ashley are starting at 11. So then
Gosh.
that means depending on when you're running, you will
That's
be
so
coming
late,
into
isn't
it.
it?
My advice would be, 1, don't worry too much about the weather. Like, the ideal conditions that people want to run in is like 14 to 16 degrees. So we're not talking about 30 degrees here.
No.
It's not a like massive jump up, but kind of be aware of it and be aware of the effects that it could have. So if I'm rubbish at drinking throughout a marathon, so definitely like make sure that you're on your A game for like fueling and hydration.
Yeah.
I think you can also, in the same way that you would carb load, you can load electrolytes a little bit.
Yeah, but I wouldn't load up too much on water and fluids, for example. Like, it could be tempting to think, oh, it's going to be hotter than I'm expected, particularly because I've been training and it's been like 5 degrees. So that's the big scary bit, is jumping from 5 to a higher temperature. But you can suffer from, like, it's actually fairly big danger for people. It's called hyponatremia, which is when you drink too much. So because so many people hammer the hydration point, and they're like, you've got to drink loads and loads and loads.
Yeah.
Like, if you drunk so much that your pee is clear, then you've already drunk a little bit too much. So like, don't just keep thinking, oh, it's going to be so much hotter than I've been used to, I'm going to plough fluids in. Just be sensible in the same way as you would have hydrated for your long runs anyway. My Valencia marathon was pretty similar, actually. So I've done all of the training in September, October, November, and then it was early December, and on race day it was exactly the same weather as forecast for London. So it felt more like I was just progressively getting warmer through the marathon than that I was dealing with unbearable weather, because the weather was increasing. It started at 10, 11 degrees, and then by the end was 18, 20 degrees. So I guess don't panic, be sensible, but I think it's when you're getting to that 25, 30k point, if you are flagging, then make sure you are taking on enough fluids and gels and stuff like that along with your plan. Yeah. And then do be ready to slow down if it does feel like you're overheating. So rather than just feeling tired or fatigued, that's what you're going to feel like anyway. But if you do just feel hot and dehydrated, then be sensible and be smart.
And be grateful for your friends and family. They're going to have a great day out now.
They are. They really are. And don't forget to put on sun cream. Because what you don't want on Monday is sore legs, potential chafing, and sunburn. That would be unideal.
And a hat maybe, and if you are putting sun cream on, then Vaseline above the eyebrows is a good way of stopping sun cream running into your eyes.
Lovely.
That is absolutely awful.
Yeah, or using sun cream like a one that's not quite so thick, cream based, that might, or on your face at least. Like ones that are specifically for your face are a bit better at not running.
Yeah, hopefully that was half decent advice. Someone over there on the top right, I think, is next.
Considering how, like, in your environment and everyone is running constantly and doing these new exciting races, I tend to get FOMO and get talked into things way too last minute and end up with like 15 races this year. How do you stay strong and not do that?
And not do 15 races?
Yes.
I find that
just
very easy.
Have 3 kids, have a hot tub and need to mow your lawn. These guys find something to do.
Yeah, I find it harder to... I think we were talking about this. I'm sort of the opposite, where I don't want to do a race unless I can do myself justice. This has been particularly, we've been talking about high rocks.
Oh my God. So there's a debate in the Running Channel office at the moment. We have Stevie, who works on the Running Channel Club, who loves the high rocks, struggles to wear a t-shirt, and it's just...
I did say if I did a high rocks, would I be allowed to leave my t-shirt on? Because I've never seen anyone finish a high rocks.
Everyone would allow that.
Yeah, I think no one wants it to not be on. So.
Yeah, but Stevie is desperate to go head-to-head against Andy, and Andy is so competitive that he won't do it until he's spent 6 months in the gym.
Yeah, which I've been finding very difficult to find the time.
Can we talk about the nickname that your kids have affectionately given you?
Well, so absolutely savage. My lovely daughter, who's just turned 11, the other day, out of nowhere, this was completely unprompted, she's just like, Daddy, you always skip arm day.
You're joking?
No. Yeah, sadly. And then someone in the office, I do believe it might have been producer Owen actually, Owen behind the curtain, had said I had noodle arms. And I happened to make the mistake of mentioning this to an 11, 8 and 4-year-old.
And now you're called...
Noodles.
I love that.
That's so good.
Should we squeeze in one more? My name's Neil from Newcastle. At the risk of doing some science, I'm interested in running in height. Is there anything about tall versus short runners that is different, particularly in terms of strength and conditioning, and perhaps exercises that might be needed to prevent injury in taller or shorter runners?
How tall are you?
Rick knows what's coming here.
Okay.
6'6".
6'6".
So interestingly...
Wow! So you're 6.
Should we tell everyone about a conversation that happened in the Running Channel office the other day?
Let's. How tall do we think Rick is?
Oh, for God's sake.
Because Rick thought... Come on, stand up. So Rick thought and confidently proclaimed that he was 6 foot, which unfortunately, as we all know, there is no man in existence that is 6 foot dead.
Well, there actually is. Because if, as you know, in mathematics, if you are over 0.5 on something, you round up. No one has ever said that they are 5'11.5". So
But
I am
you should.
5'11.5", 182.1 centimetres, which is 0.6 centimetres short of 6 foot. And if you run the 0.5 up, you get 6 foot. 6 foot. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
So yeah, Rick's 5'11". But science.
Oh yeah,
Andy.
Well, I was so busy. As soon as you mentioned height, I was like, I'm going to absolutely ruin Rick here. The question was, are there any specifics about running and height? And
I think there's a good fun fact of a lot of elite marathoners are actually quite short.
Yes.
But that might just be anecdotal.
I think historically, and actually you would have seen when I was running, a lot of Gabriel Selassie, Bquals, all of those guys were tiny. And so then when you'd get Craig Mottram was an Aussie guy I used to train with who was tall, but 6'2", 6'3", and he looked like an absolute giant when he was running with those guys. Again, we're not answering the question. I'm like padding so that my brain can process something sensible to say.
We were also thinking of high rocks as well.
Yeah.
This again, Stevie and Andy. Stevie is also a 6 foot person.
5'11".
5'11". And we were talking about how does that give you an advantage with burpees versus lunges if you're taller or shorter because you're having to cover more distance in the burpees, but then you're not lunging down
my
as
hands
far.
will be closer to the wall ball target.
Yeah.
But my body is further away from the floor for the burpees, so that's
Hang
harder.
on. Isn't the answer here, genuinely, the answer, what you two have actually told me about? Well, I can't believe I'm the only one who remembers this science. This is just crazy. This has never happened.
Well, you haven't said it yet, so it might not be
right. The
right.
pop it on the string phenomenon, where it's all about your stature and your posture while you're running, because as you get more and more tired, you generally become more and more caveman. And the important thing for your gait and your cadence is actually to be as upright as possible. When you're failing, it's more important for you to be as upright as even when you started the race.
Yeah, there's definitely a good. Yeah, that was science from Rick. There's definitely a good point. We've done lots of videos on cadence and stride length, and actually in a lot of those videos, what we talk about is your body is really good at self-optimizing. What your body isn't great at is self-optimizing when it's really tired.
Yeah.
So if you're watching marathoners, or even if you're running on Sunday, as you come round that corner and you're going up the mall, a lot of people will be sinking down. They'll be hunching over because you're tired. So your kind of body mechanics isn't working as efficiently. But in terms of trying to elongate your stride length or increase your cadence, you can make kind of small little adjustments, but you don't necessarily need to make big drastic changes in order to be the most efficient.
Yeah, I'd be saying focus on the posture, and particularly as I'm tall-ish, 6'2"-ish. And I think I've always been slightly aware of my height sometimes, and you end up hunching a little bit, and then naturally with sitting at a computer all day and so on, you almost feel slightly apologetic for your height sometimes. So you end up, and I have bad posture, which I really need to work on. So if I was going to really have time to focus in the gym, I'd be focusing on pulling my shoulders back, nice and tall, and my head, and then being able to keep my hips up and forward when I'm really tired, like Sarah talked about. So when you are fatiguing, I'd be doing gym exercises that focus on that, sort of regardless of your height. But just because you're tall doesn't mean that you should have a massive long stride length, so don't force anything.
Yeah.
You could be a hovercraft like Andy.
Right.
That's the
You
way to
two,
do.
that's been fun.
That has been fun. Thank you so much for coming to the Running Channel Podcast Live. Huge round of applause. We genuinely love doing this, and we're all a little bit amazed that we've been doing this for so long. So the fact that you enjoy listening to it must mean we're doing something right. So please keep listening, share it to your running friends, anyone who might be watching the marathon on Sunday with you who absolutely hates running. Please send it to someone and kind of share the love.
Yeah.
And thank you for all of the love on the podcast.
She did that without me even asking her to give a favour. Listen,
See, got the
everybody,
favour
this has
in
been
early.
the Running Channel Live at the London Marathon. Thank you. Have a good night.